because we've got another prospect to talk about. It is another guy who's a little bit older. It is PJ Hall from Clemson. PJ is, I'm not really sure how to fully describe PJ. He's 6'10". He's, again, a little bit older, 22 years of age, but a guy that averaged almost 26 points per 40 minutes. He had a 32% usage. He took his threes. He was efficient. He hit free throws. He blocked 2 shots per 40 as well. But on surface level, looking at this, and I'll give you, again, the casual, I look at this and I go, is this David Lee that shoots threes? Like, that's where I look, when I look at the body shape and the stats, I go, is that what this is? I'm not necessarily saying that it is, but that's the initial thing that I look at. But also, these sort of guys who come in, 32 usage as a power forward / center shooting these threes, like, that's just not a realistic thing, I don't think, for someone like this to be able to do in the NBA. So what does he do that doesn't involve him being the centerpiece of an offense?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very good shooter, and he's got size. He measured at 6'8" without shoes, 7'1.5" wingspan. So he's got the long arms, and he tested pretty athletically well in the combine. And also he injured his knee 2 years ago. He finally looks fully healthy, which I think plays a hand in why he looked so athletic at the combine relative to his performances last year. He's probably a shooter. The big risk with him, though, is the scouts I've talked to just really do not like his defense. And that's going to be where it's, does he ever touch a basketball court, like a pro basketball court in the NBA? Because is his defense that much of a liability? So that's like the big worry for a lot of scouts. The awareness issues for me are alarming. He just doesn't know what's going on around him all the time. But if he was just able to play offense and you were able to minimize his defensive shortcomings, I think you're really looking at somebody who could contribute off the bench.
Yeah, that's where we're at. Like, this is probably an early second round sort of a player that there is a skill there. There is a shooting skill. There is an ability. There is the size, as you mentioned, and the recovery from the injury is important. But as we talk about with so many guys, I think we see this as we get into the playoffs that they're going on at the moment, is that when, if you're deficiencies are pronounced, then it just becomes that there's no real room for you to play. And that's even the case for guys who might have been big minute starters, Josh Giddey, for example, and said, now you can't play because of these deficiencies that really get honed in on. And that's great that you can have a big usage role playing for Clemson and shoot, but like when we get down to it, what are the little things that you can do that can help a rotation for a team that's looking to be good? And I'm not really sure what that is. Can he turn into a low volume spot up guy but holds his own? I don't know. The size is good, but again, we're in that position where you've got to have a little bit more than being able to do that. And that's one of my archetypes, Rich. I don't know if you have these specific sort of archetypes. One of my archetypes of players where I look at them and go, from what they've done in college, and say, okay, you have this huge usage, you run this college team, but that's never going to happen in the NBA. So what the hell else do you do? And my examples that have been like a Johnny Davis or even a Jalen Wilson last season. So all this stuff is going through you, but like, I've got to also tell you that today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It's the easiest and the most exciting way as well to get in on the action while watching your favorite sports and favorite players. You just pick more than or less than between 2 to 6 individual player stats, bang them into a lineup, and there you go. You got your entry sorted. You can do that in the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, the Major League Baseball season. I'm sure there's other things starting. Major League Soccer, I'm sure, is coming up. Disc golf season must be ready to kick off into full gear, and all that is going to happen over at PrizePicks. You can also win up to 100 times your money now as well with as little as 4 correct picks. $10 up to $1,000 if you get those 4 picks correct. So go and download the app and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Download the app. The app is PrizePicks, of course, and the code is LOCKEDONNBA, and you get a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, pick more, pick less. It is that easy.